Hello everyone, this is Didier Christelle. Welcome to this episode of the Love is series based on 1 Corinthians 13. Today we're focusing on verse 4, looking at one of the attributes of love. The specific attribute that we want to talk about tonight is love is not proud. We look at various translations of the Bible, and some have used other words. There's a translation that says love is not boastful. Another one that talks about love is not puffed up. We have a translation that talked about love does not have a swollen head. Another one pretty much said love does not have a big head. So when you look at all these words, and it's all goes back to center to one attribute that should not be part of a relationship is pride. And pride basically sends you back to one individual view of themselves, and pretty much what they think of who they are, what they bring into a relationship, how great they are, and how all those things that they think of themselves that ultimately become an obstacle to building a healthy relationship, right? What's interesting about pride is sometimes you exhibit pride without even knowing that you are proud. One area, like it could be a very simple area, a very simple aspect that sometimes you overlook, but it's just like when one things where you think that you know it all, right? You know it all. You know better than everybody else. You know better than your spouse, and pretty much it's you got it, right?
Yes, I know it all, or she knows it all, he knows it all, and you do not let the other express themselves or contribute themselves fully and in a way that bring your relationship in another level, or in a way of you going and step up in the relationship. So one of the example, or maybe illustration that I will talk we're talking about now is let's say when we met, or when we got married and started living under the same roof. It was fully established. Like when I say fully established, he knew what to do. He was financially stable already, not fully stable, but at least stable. He cooked, he cleans, he knew to put everything in order and everything where they belong. But when I came in the relationship, when we started living in marriage, I have a vision of how things should look in the house. I have a vision of how things should be run in our relationship. And that's not how he used to live all this time all these years without me. So it was really a challenge. And a challenge in the point that my voice, my opinion at first were not being heard. My opinion, my voice, I felt like I wasn't being heard. So that was really hard in early years of our marriages, because I would tell, even a simple thing as a job application, I will go and get the papers to apply, and when he comes from work or from school, when he come back in the house and come back in the house and took all this form and he started filling them up by himself without engaging with me. And when I asked, the only thing I was asked to do is go and drop in the application. So I did not know how to go about it. and this was really a serious hindrance in our relationship, I guess.
All right. So, and as I said earlier, like sometimes you exhibit pride, without really realizing that what you're doing. And as Christelle said, you're doing things thinking that because I know, and she just came into this country, she doesn't know how things run here, how things work here, and instead of engaging her to explain, you just do it and just say, okay, go ahead and drop it off, right? So basically, whatever she could contribute at that moment is just shut down, because in the name of you don't know. You don't know. I'm the one who know. I've been here longer than you. I've been doing it longer than you. I know better, and you don't know. So those are things that I was doing it thinking that I'm helping, but I'm at the same time as I was helping, I'm doing it my way. I'm shutting down any contribution that she could have had into what was ultimately something that would have been beneficial for her. We do things we don't necessarily think that, hey, I'm exhibiting pride here, but in the back, looking from her perspective, she's been shut down, and it's not helping, right? It's only after the fact or years later then you realize, hey, that was not a good way to go about it, right?
Exactly. And one of the things as well is being proud emotionally.
Okay.
Men in general.
Men.
Don't
Men. Those men, those pesky men.
Strong men don't really think that they need the support of the female, the support of the wives, the support of the fiance, the support of this creature that the God puts next to you to support you even emotionally. It's really hard to find a man who is open, who can open up enough to you and tell you and share his fear. They think that they're strong. Of course they are. I'm not saying that they're not. They are strong. They are thought to be strong once they enter this world. All men are thought to be strong. All men are thought to be the pillar of the family, the pillar of the head of the family. But they are too strong. They are too proud. That's what I see. To open up to the female, to open up to the wife, to open up to the significant one, and just express your fear regarding the relationship, regarding any kind of decision that you guys are about to make for the future of both of you, for the future of the family. It's like, okay, I got this, babe. I'll do it. I got it. I don't need to tell you. And it's really, I won't say almost impossible. It's really difficult to enter this aspect of man.
Well, I agree. A lot of this is, when we look back, it comes back to how usually men are raised in the homes, exactly. Right? Especially those of us who are from African descent, where we are raised to be strong. Showing emotions or being vulnerable pretty much is like a sign of weakness, and we grow up like that. We grow up like that for years, and then you get into a relationship. And then here comes this woman who want to get in, who want to partner with you, want to be emotionally connected, but we are so proud that even when we have issues, we have problems, we don't want to we think that opening up or showing emotions is a sign of weakness, right? So we button up everything. We tell ourselves that I got it. I don't need any emotional support. I don't need to open up to anyone. I don't need to be vulnerable to her, even though she's called to be your wife, right? So like I personally, like I grew up in a homes where I was the only boy, right? And from the young age, you were told you're gonna be taking care of the family. Your parents will tell you like when dad is not home, you're gonna be you the next in line. You have to take care of the family. You have to take care of your mom. So you are being raised up, and they're telling you that men don't cry, men don't do that, men don't behave this way, men don't show this kind of emotions. And those are the things that we grow up and doing and believing. And then you now a full grown man, you face with, you have a relationship, but because you grew up believing that you are the stronger one, you cannot be vulnerable, and in a relationship you bring that sense of that idea that you're the strong one, and it build up into becoming pride, right? So even when you're facing challenges, you think that if you open up or you show emotions, or if you show vulnerability, it's a sign of weakness. So instead of helping, letting the other help you, you shut them down because you believe that you got it.
Or you even think that they cannot help you. They don't have enough tool. They don't have what it takes. Mm-hmm. They don't have this ability to build you up, to pick you up where you've fallen, because maybe they didn't went through they didn't went through what you're going through or what you went through. They don't have any knowledge. They don't have any background. They don't have any package. They are not strong enough, or they don't have it. So you thinking like this, it automatically shut down or closed down the communication point, the communication aspect of you, you don't. It's difficult. It makes your relationship growth difficult, and pride it's something. It's really serious. It's dangerous. It's one of the root of the problem that marriages are facing. And I strongly believe as well that this love is not proud aspect of in the relationship, like we just raised right here. One of the ways that we can pass through I'm sorry. Okay. One of the ways that we can pass through it is being vulnerable enough to admit that we need help, that we need counsel. It takes a lot to admit, like, okay, yes, at this point I can't, I need to talk to you, we need to talk to somebody. But because you think you know it all, because you think that you've been in the relationship business long enough and you know a lot, and you think that someone else cannot help you, you're going to pay someone for something that you already know, and you're just stumbling in the same pit. You're just going around in a circle thinking that you got it, but in reality you just don't. There's a reason why God put the person in your life. There's a reason why, and this goes both ways though. It's not just the men. There are women that are strong willing. There are women that are strong, they got it together, and that's really strong and financially strong, emotionally strong, and they think that they don't need their spouse, they don't need the significant one, they don't need the help, because whether it's there or not, she can do it all. She got it. And this is really not good for a relationship.
Yeah, you raised a good point, saying that you need to be vulnerable in your marriage, and pretty much that's the opposite of being proud in your relationship is pretty much being vulnerable, right?
Humble.
So if you cannot be vulnerable to your own spouse, then there's so many things that you won't be able to do together. because if you build up yourself, you believe that your spouse cannot build you up, your spouse cannot help you, in situations, or your spouse cannot contribute anything to you, then you just gonna create a situation where one feels rejected and one feels I'm too full of myself and I don't need help, right? I don't need anybody in my life. I got it. I can do it all by myself. So pride can, as we said, can be manifested in many ways. It can in the two ways that we say, I know it all. I can do it all, or I'm too strong and I don't need help, and even I'm always right? So you have couples and where in an argument, one person always believes that it's their way or the highway, or they're always right and the other one is always wrong. And even when they're wrong, they're always right. So it's one of those things where when you have that attitude, when you're proud, you pretty much breaking the relationship, because you want the other half of the couple, the other spouse, will feel dejected, will feel rejected, you feel like they have no contribution, and ultimately you're breaking the intimacy that you should be having as a couple.
You are so right. I'm always right. I am always right in a relationship. This is a dangerous statement. And there are people who really think that I'm always right, even though they're wrong. And there's this incident that I recall way back when I go in my teenager years, and my aunt and my mom got in altercations, and she's the oldest, my mom's sister. She was the oldest, and where we come from, the oldest are always
right. Yep.
Right. But in that particular situation, she was not. In fact, there were all the proof. My mom had all the proof that she was wrong, but she was always right. And it was so bad that they didn't speak to each other for over years. I can't remember, because she just wouldn't admit her fault. She just wouldn't come to a realization that the act, what she did, what she has done, what she said was wrong. And just coming to admit that, just coming and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I acted out of foolishness, I acted out of pride. And this would have just resolved this little altercation, this little discussion that they had. And I remember there was really close sister, and they didn't talk for years. I could see my aunt pass by our house and she wouldn't even stop. And this literally broke this relationship between them. Yes, of course, they made up years later and they talked, but things were not the way they used to be. I'm saying that to say that even if in marriage, just admit this courage to say, I'm sorry. It's heavy, it's not easy, but this is one way. Humbleness, humility. Sorry. Humility is a way you can you can go for pride, you can go against pride with humility in the relationship.
And especially like when I'm going to pick on the men, right? I shouldn't, but I'm going to pick on the men. we usually, like in a relationship or in marriage, we tend to say, I'm the head of the family and I'm the provider, I'm the protector, I'm this, I'm that. And if we don't pay attention to those things easily can get into our head, right? You get into our head and then we begin to think that I'm all that. Because I'm the head of the family, because I'm the protector, because I'm the provider, because I'm this and that, and you're supposed to be submitted to me, or anything. You begin to look at your wife as an inferior, and those attributes of you being a servant leader that you're supposed to be, you're looking at it and you start looking at it a different way. You think that you are the boss, that everybody needs to serve you, and you become puffed up, right? So those are things that we need to pay attention to in a relationship, right? When you may be the head of the family, but that doesn't mean that you're always right? You may be the provider, doesn't mean that you always know the right way about doing things. So being able to come to the table and say and admit that I don't know it all, I need help. The spouse is there to complement me, to help me to go ahead. My wife is there to help me. My wife is there to complement me where I'm lacking. It's not me being weak. It's just like I'm a normal human being, and I don't have it all, and I need my wife is there to compliment me, just like I am there to compliment her. So those are the things that we need to pay attention to when we get into in our day-to-day, in our relationships, when we're going about our business, that things don't get into our head so much that we believe that we are the all-knowing, the all-powerful, the always right, the mighty, that if we are not there, the spouse will collapse, right? But where I'm from, there was a president that pretty much said that after he left power, it would be the end of the world, and we believed it, right? So sometimes in our relationship, we kind of behave like that. We get to the point where we start believing that without me, the other one doesn't mean anything. So instead of us spending time building up our spouses, we spend enough time putting them down, and our people putting them down, or just looking at them as inferior because we think so highly of ourselves, and that is really a recipe for disaster in a relationship, right? Shutting down the other, diminishing their ability to contribute to the relationship. It's just things that we might be doing it maybe without realizing that we actually exhibiting pride.
You are right. Any relationship in this purpose, marriage works like a team. There's not an I in team. We are all a part of the same team. We all strive. Our goal is to win. So building up each other is to win. You know it all, guess what? You do not know it all. Because if you did, God wouldn't have sent you. That's the nitpicking one. God wouldn't have sent you this man. God wouldn't have sent you this woman, for you to build this family with. So love is not supposed to be proud.
Love is not proud.
And love is not
proud. So, like we talked about being a know-it-all, but how do you go about, especially for someone who maybe you've been independent your entire life, you've been independent, you've lived your life, you're stable financially, but then you come into a relationship, you come into marriage. How do you go about then letting, avoiding being a know-it-all, because all to this point you've lived your life, you've made all the decisions, you are always Mr. Right or Mrs. Right or Miss Right. How do you go about then letting the other one come in and open the door for them to be a valuable to your life, right? So as being a know-it-all, I mean, you live your life, but then if you're still doing that, maybe it's time to start trying, right? Things don't change overnight, but you can start trying. You can start listening to your spouse, right? You try it. It may be uncomfortable first, but just listen. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to what they're proposing, and not only listen, but be an active listener and go into action, right? You listen and take up their proposal. Let's see how it turns out. Even if it doesn't turn out great, next time do it again. Give it a try. And the more you do it, the more it becomes easier for you to be not just a know-it-all, but to be considering the opinion of the contribution of your spouse.
Exactly. And like my husband just said it, be open. It's not going to be comfortable at starting, but the more we do it, the more we exercise in it, and the more we have an open communication about it, avail yourself to listen, and avail yourself not to listen from your point of view, but from the other point of view. If you do not understand, ask, what exactly is it that you are trying to tell me? What exactly that you need me to do, or you need me not to do in this? Okay, let's try it your way. And when you do not be quick at judging. Like, okay, see, told you this will not be working. Instead, okay, we did this, it didn't work. Let's do it your way, but let's add this. So be open-minded to consider the other opinion or the other idea, and as well be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable. Make your heart open. And this is a difficult thing to do. It is really difficult because not everyone is as comfortable to be open to the other one. Even in marriage, in any kind of relationship, it's really difficult, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, being vulnerable, I can say from experience that it's not easy, right? Being able to open yourself up, become an open book for your mistakes, your failures, your successes, your weaknesses, your strength. It's not necessarily an easy thing, and it's really not a comfortable thing to do. But the more you open yourself up, the more you trust your spouse, the more you let them see you for who you are. The more you stop pretending being strong, the more you stop pretending being all together, the more you stop pretending knowing it all, the more you let your guard down and you understand that you are in this together, you are in it, you are one, and you are a team supposed to work to benefit for a common goal, for a common benefit. Then the more you do it, the easier it becomes, right? In French, they say l'appétit vient en mangeant. So the more you do it, or c'est en forgeant qu'on devient forgeron. So the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So if all these things that we're talking about don't necessarily come overnight, they don't come at once, they come through practice, but through a willingness to actually become vulnerable, a willingness to be able to listen. And another thing that we especially for believers, Christians, pray about it, right? Ask God to give you the strength to be vulnerable. Pray about your heart to put your guards down toward your spouse. Pray about being able to change your point of view, your mind towards her, so that you can be able to understand, to be open to their ideas, to their suggestions, to their presence in your life, and especially pray against pride in your life. Right? You might not know that you are pride. You might not know that you exhibit pride, but every day we should do that exercise and ask God to, if there's any area in our hearts that exhibits pride, any area, any aspect, any behavior that is that show pride in our life, that we should pray about it so that God can take it away from us.
Exactly. And we will encourage you to pray and ask the Holy Spirit to make your heart available. It's a daily exercise. It's a daily, you need to be willing to, like we say, die within yourself to make this thing grow, to make this thing alive in you. Pride is me. And when you are in a relationship, in marriage, you cannot succeed with this me mindset. You have to be able to be humble enough to ask for forgiveness, even though you're right.
Yeah,
it's hard, but this is one of the breaking point of pride, that you should be able enough to take your pride away and do the first step. And even if you're the one who always do the first step, at some point it's tiring, but the Holy Spirit is there to lift you up.
Yeah, and we were just sharing our perspective and on this one. Love is not proud. We all, in one way or another, we probably have left to go. We probably have a way to go into this fight with pride. But as a couple, as married couple, we always should be able to do that exercise to avoid pride into our relationship. The more we are open to our spouses, the more we pray about it, the more we are willing to listen to them, the more we do things together, the more we communicate, the more we work together, the more we get to the point where we understand that we are a team, where we're doing things together, the more we get to the place where we value the contribution of our spouse. The more we continue to do those things and we bring them to the right place of the helper, or the right place of the spouse that they are supposed to be to us, the more we will be able to fight pride. And above all, as my wife said, we need to pray about it. We need to pray that the Holy Spirit will take away with pride in our life, and that every day as we wake up, we should open our hearts to our spouses. We should understand the role that they play. We should be able to listen to them. We should be able to understand our strengths and weaknesses, understand that we cannot do it all by ourselves. And the more we get to that understanding, the better we build a relationship, a lasting relationship, where all of us, or both of us, are valuable member of that team moving toward a common goal. We hope that this video, the short video here, encourages you to continue to move forward and to remove pride from your relationship. God bless you, and talk to you another time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.